Good evening and welcome to the Monday, May 13th, 2024 meeting for the city of Lamar. I'm Mayor Kirk Crespin. You know, the past couple of weeks have been very busy. We've had a lot of activities, but these upcoming weeks are going to be very busy as well. I know this week is a busy week. We have lots of activities happening, starting off with the Lamar Days, where we'll be celebrating 138 years for the city of Lamar. So it's Lamar's 138th year birthday. And the Chamber of Commerce is going to kick off everything on Friday between 11 and 2 with a hamburger fry right in front of the Chamber building for $5. So if you're out and about for Friday for lunch, stop by and join in on the fun there. Then also Friday night, they'll have the No Booze Cruise. And then Saturday all day, we'll have the car show. We'll have Lamar Days events. Everybody's getting involved, whether it's the city, the Chamber, merchants downtown. So take advantage of that. If you're out and about, please take advantage of our Lamar Day celebration and see what Lamar has to offer. So I want to encourage you all to really enjoy that. One other memorial item that I'd like to just point out is that as of today, Jerry Jenkins has been on the council for 10 years exactly. So, yay! So I wanted to congratulate her on her 10-year anniversary being on the city council, representing the citizens of Lamar. We really appreciate all of the council members for stepping up and participating in our city government. So thank you very much. We will move on to the rest of the council meeting. We'll start off with our invocation. We have Mr. Madison here to do our invocation. Great. Thank you, Ray.
Yep. Our Father in heaven, we do come before you. We are so grateful, God, for the history of Lamar. And God, we just anticipate good things this summer. We thank you for the rain that we received, and we thank you for just the good things. And we do pray for your blessing upon the city and upon this council as they seek to make wise decisions. God, I pray that you'd be even with the decision as to hiring a new police chief. God, just guide that whole process as well, and everything that goes on. Father, we thank you that we get to live here, and just pray that you would send more rain as well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Councilman Mata, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Shayla Motta,
Here.
Jerry Jenkins,
Here.
Kirk Crespin,
Here.
David Zavala,
Here.
Manuel Temez, Brent Bates,
Here.
Rob Evans,
Here.
Kristen Swartz,
Here.
Lance Clark. Here.
As many of you may have heard, we have Councilman Bates that's on Zoom today. He's out of town, but he is joining us on Zoom. So thank you for accommodating that. Next item on the agenda is to review it. Do we have any changes for the agenda? I didn't see any.
Didn't see any.
Okay. All right, then the next item is our consent agenda. Minutes and bill payment. I did not see any bills that needed to be separated out. Is that correct, Kristen? We
That's
didn't-
correct. There,
Okay.
I don't believe there's anything on there.
Any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye. Jerry.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, moving right along. Now it's time for our audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council if they want to give more. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council on an agenda item that's not on the agenda, or an item that's not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, As always, I'll encourage you, if you do have any questions or comments that you would like to share with the council or any information, this audience participation portion is your spot. That's your time to speak with the council during these meetings, and we have them at the beginning of every single meeting. So please take advantage of that if you can, or if you would like to. Moving on, we'll do the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
Thank you. I've included in my report, this evening, the first quarter financials. They're there for your review. My door is always open and you can always call me if you have any questions. So those are in your packet. And then I wanted to discuss, we've kind of started talking about it in, the, work session, but our ARP funds that we have. That we had gotten starting back in 2021. We were given, as a grant through that funding source, $1,924,082.37. We have spent $69,813.87 on the SECED housing project. We've also committed to $90,000 for the Ark Valley Conduit project, which leaves us a balance of $1,764,268.50. And so I just did some more training. They just did kind of a new ruling, a final ruling on how the money can be spent. And one thing that I have to do by the end of 2024 is I have to have all of the money committed to specific projects. And I have to have that loaded in the ARP-NEU portal that I work through. So my reporting portal. So we had been discussing some things that we want to commit that funding to. One thing that I did put down, and we got, Kyle had gotten some estimates on a traffic study, and we talked about a full city traffic study. We think that at this point is going to be around 100,000. So that's on the recommended list. The financial software that we talked about earlier. So that 564, I laid a new sheet at your stations while you were taking a break. So the updated one has the financial software on there. And then we wanted to commit the balance to projects that had been identified in the water capital master plan. So Pat and Rob and I have been discussing that and are working on some specific projects that were listed in that. And we feel like that'll be a very beneficial thing to use that money for as well, because that would probably take some pressure off having to do the rate increases so far out into the future. So we wanted to commit the balance to those water capital projects. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there and have you be thinking about it. Once we identify those water projects, and if the software would get approved, then I'll come back with a more concrete list for you before I go into the portal and commit those fundings. And then we have until December 31st of 2026 to have those projects complete. So it's got to be things that we can identify that can be complete by that time frame. So, but I do have to have those identified by the end of the year. So I wanted to start visiting with it and kind of let you know where we were at. So I wanted to brief you on that. And then I have
That Ark Valley Conduit, that's on our
Yes, sir.
agenda for later.
It is.
As far as.
It is.
Right.
Yep. We'll do a little bit more in-depth discussion of what that is. Just for everybody that's new. I did a little bit of a history and background on that. We've got an agreement on there with the Water Conservancy District for what that funding is going to be spent for. So we can talk about that when we get to that agenda item in more detail.
And this is the American Rescue Plan funding that we'd received in 21.
Yes, sir.
I know we had put it aside. We were hoping to utilize that funds for the public safety building, but with the short timing and with the over budgeted expenses that it would take, I think there was we did get some estimates in already for that public.
We haven't, we just did a design.
Just did the design.
Yes,
Okay.
and so we're just not close enough on that project. I mean,
get it done in time.
we'll move it forward and we have some FPPA money to move forward on design and getting, a definite cost on it and some work towards construction documents, but as of right now, it's not going to fit into this funding just due to the timing of
We have
it.
to move on it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure in case
Yes.
anybody asks.
And then I always do a grant update, or I have been. So I wanted to include our updated list. Tess, the grant assistant has been working on this list, trying to keep it active. We did add a column, on it from the last one you've seen. So we have, this is money that has either been, applied for, received, or projects that are ongoing. So we try to keep this list updated for you. So at the end of the quarter, we decided to go ahead and do an update. So we did a total project column and then also how much of that is being paid for by the grants, the particular grants. So, I put that in your packet so you can look that over and digest that information. So it's always good to know. We have been awarded. We had applied, you guys had allowed us to apply for a CPW grant for another handicap pier on the back ponds at North Gateway Ponds. We were awarded that project. So Anthony has been in a meeting with Travis Long from CPW. They're kind of they're kind of refining all of the details on that. We were awarded the full 120,000. Our project right now is estimated at 160. So that will do some fish cleaning stations, or at least one station, and then the handicap pier. It won't be a floating dock this time. We're going to do a permanent dock. So we don't have so many issues if it floods. So I wanted to let you know that we were awarded that. We also finally received, Friday late in the day, I received the PO for the archery range. So I'll be getting with Rob and Anthony, and we'll be getting that moved forward. There's going to be a lot of in-kind on that one with our partner, it's CPW. They'll be building the course. The city of Lamar will be doing in-kind as far as the parking lot and maybe clearing some areas for the course itself. So we're excited to finally get this one moved forward. And I think Rob and Pat and Stephanie have been working through the access issue with CDOT. So I think that that's coming to a conclusion as well. But I just wanted to give you an update on that. And one more was, we had spoke about the backfill money that had been promised us. We did actually receive it with the last month's property taxes through kind of through a wrench in Linda's plans for the day, but we did receive the full 108,446. So we've committed to using that for gear for the fire department for this year. So we did actually receive the money. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Was there anything else miscellaneous wise that you had any questions for me or would like an update on? We're also moving forward with the TAP grant. Finally, you'll see that as an agenda item as well. There is an agreement on there with CDOT for that, so we can move that grant forward. And I am working right now, Tess and I are with revitalizing Main Street for that Savage to Park West Side, how that's going to fit in with the TAP grant. So they're working with us with that too. So, so that was, I think, all I had.
Am I reading this correctly? As far as working grants is 9.7 million?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
that's
sir.
very good. For those of the
Yes, sir.
community members that ask why we don't do grants, we actually do. And that's pretty significant. That's a significant amount that's coming into our community. So very well. Good job.
Now, some of those are applied for, not yet awarded, but yes, we are working on 9 million grants for the city, getting projects in, and that includes our airport, water, all the different departments. So
Amazing. Great.
mhm.
Any questions for Kristen before we move on?
Good job, Christie.
Thank you.
have any.
All right, great report. The next item on the agenda is the city clerk's report.
So our sales and use tax collected in April from March was $497,490.89, which was up 8.52% from 2023, or $39,042.65. Our year-to-date collections is $1,898,097.40, which is up 8.28% from 2023, or $145,173.03. So we continue to trend upward.
That is great. So 8.52%, that's wonderful to have a good increase in our sales tax revenue. That shows good growth or, steady. So that's two great reports. Now it's time for the city administrator, no pressure at
Oh,
all.
no. Well, I'm gonna add a couple of things to mine.
Unless you have any questions for the clerk. Anybody have questions?
Or you have questions for me?
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and go to the administrator.
First of all, yesterday was an awesome day. I got to see my mom. And Mother's Day was a great time. I know that there's a lot of mothers out there that deserve all of those calls, number one call day in all of America. So bottom line is, I know she's watching. She always watches our meetings. Say Happy Mother's Day, a little bit off, but
Happy Mother's Day.
yeah. Mr. Harbor and the 911 commission, they came by and they got a certificate. They handed it to the city. I've got it and I'll put it up in our trophy box here, but wanted you guys to know that they came by to say and really appreciate all of the help that the city, anything that they want to do to make sure that we honor our veterans and our first responders, that those guys are great out there and they always give credit to the city to help, any contribution we make, but those guys, they have their heart in the right place. I just wanted you to know that they did. Reminder to you guys, CML conference is happening on June 18th to the 21st in Loveland. We have this week is on those events that you mentioned were going to be happening this week. We have a couple of them, and the police chief search. We have our community reception. We're going to have a meet and greet Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. And on the 17th, on Friday, we're going to have basically all day interviews. We're going to have people come by. The panels are going to be giving them questions. They're all going to be able to give their input. And then I'll have one-on-one interviews. They're going to help me develop a recommendation to the council. And then I'm going to be asking you guys for a special meeting next week to be able to present a recommendation. That's for next week. I know that we had foregone a second meeting this month, but we're going to need to have this done by the end of the month. I'm going to ask you guys. We're probably going to add one more item to that. So we can then by the end of the month, I know there may be.
So one thing is, I just want to clarify, the community reception on Thursday, May 16th from 4 to 6 is
Mhm.
open to the community
It is.
so that they can provide us input on the candidate, meet the candidates and provide us input on the candidates. This is a good opportunity for the community to, if you have concerns, questions, if you want to give your feedback, this is the time. So Thursday, May 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. and that's at the Cultural Events
Mhm.
Center?
Oh, no, it's at the
At the tavern,
1301.
third tavern,
Yeah.
1301. Okay. So
So
go to the tavern 1301.
yes, I did want to add that we are going to have some cards we're going to be handing out to everybody to be able to give me their input. It will be written down and it will be recorded. So it's not going to be just like nobody listened to me. We will be having these things and we will consider each one of these things for recommendations.
Just wanted to make sure everybody
Mhm.
understood that because I've had a lot of people
Yeah.
asking why they couldn't get any input on that. So
It's still there. We still have. a
this
chance.
will do it. Okay.
Lamar Days is coming up. We mentioned that. We have the Chamber of Commerce, the barbecue cook-off. Our parade is on Saturday at 10 a.m. The car show starts at 8 a.m. on Saturday. And I know that you can already see all of the events and all of the preparations that are going on. It looks great. The parks look great. Everything looks great right now. The extra rain is going to make it look great. This is going to be another great event and we're spreading out. So I think this is a good thing. We talked about this being a growth area and this is one of those ways that we can show it. But it's almost a whole week worth of events. There. Good thing.
And we'll have the float for the city
Mhm.
council. So
Sure are.
if the city council members can join us, that would be great.
Mhm.
It's always good for the council to be represented during Lamar days.
Yeah.
Our days, so we should be there.
Coffee with Rob, we have Hickory House, McDonald's and TA Express for the next 3 weeks. Come and have coffee with me and tell me what you think and give you more chances for
input before we figure out I'm not gonna take, votes at this time, but if you guys have other, input you want to give me on police chief search, on potholes, dog parks, anything you want, just come talk to me. The third Glow Golf night tournament happens June 8th at, starting at 4 p.m. I know it's not dark yet, but those are real fun events, and I know that Joe's gonna be, he's gonna be there. I know
Yeah,
he's
I'll be
gonna be
there.
representing, so. It's the Christmas party this year. I know it's real early to be talking about the Christmas party, but it's not really that early whenever we're reserving venues and things like this. So we wanted to ask the council some input on whether or not you wanted to make sure it's at the traditional spot that we've done over the last few years, or do you guys have other ideas about where you might want to go? And we need to know very soon if we're going to reserve the Elks like we normally. Any ideas? You think you wanted to suggest?
Well, I'm making a suggestion since we're doing the chief of police reception over there at the 1301, why not go back over there and share the wealth over there and go with the Elks for the Christmas party? And then maybe we can do something different next year at the tavern.
Yep, might swap it up next year.
Yeah.
So you want to stay with the Elks this year? right?
Yes.
I want to make sure I understood you.
Yeah,
Okay, good. And then maybe switch it next year or something.
yeah, for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The Prowers County Sheriff's Office Youth Academy, June 3rd to the 7th. Know that we had mentioned some questions that have been about that before, so that week, go out and support. Haven't been a part of this one before. If anybody has any information on this one. Nothing on this one.
The Youth Academy,
Yeah,
this is brand new.
brand new first one.
Yeah,
So
this is the.
no wonder I didn't know anything about it.
Sheriff's Office has ever had, to my knowledge.
Okay, and as we sort of mentioned, no city council meeting on May 27th. That's Memorial Day, happens to land right on that day. I have a couple projects I want to update you on, and then, I'm going to add one more event at the end. We had 2 beavers rehome from our Willow Creek, conservation. Anyway, they were captured, they were big, and they caused a lot of water backup. And so right now our problem is solved. There was probably more that took off once we got those 2. And we're gonna be working on a future plan for an annual contract with this guy, but he went out there and got it. Anthony's not here, but he was really involved, and they had some, kayaks and dogs and people. It was like we were going after these guys, and we got 2 great big old beavers. So it was a successful project. And the youth soccer league has been completed. That's out of our Parks and Rec. Let me see, the police. Oh, we'll do that. I'm gonna add him at the end. But the radar certification was completed this last weekend, so have to do this annually to make sure that that's correct, so we can use our equipment to keep people in line. Let me see, IT camera project. We recently completed at the rec center, and that's an ongoing thing. We're revamping the whole city's cameras to help us out with observation recording all across the city, our community building here, airport. So it's a very extensive project. We have a no booze cruise on, 6 p.m. on Friday. And you can buy the hands are $5 a piece, or 5 hands for $20. And I haven't fully participated in this one, but it looks like it's a lot of fun and a lot of people. So we will be on this one because there's a lot of things happening on Friday.
Yes.
All right, so this last one I wanted to do is we have been talking about for the whole time I've been here about getting new people in here and new employees. And we have another graduate of our police academy and passed their post test. So I would like to invite Chief to come up here, and if you could help me introduce a new or prospective officer. Almost new.
So Ezekiel Hernandez, we got him hired beginning of this year, he went down to the academy, did well there, passed his post test on Friday. So today was his first start date. We got him qualified on handgun. And then he'll go through a 14-week FTO program, field training officer program. So he'll be assigned with 3 or 4 different officers to teach him how we do things. And then after that, he will be a solo officer. So he still has a pretty extensive training ahead of him. But we're excited to have another one, try to fill up our ranks again. But Zeke, if you'll come up, and I think his sister Bianca is gonna pin him. Is that right, Bianca? All right.
On up to. Hey. Yeah, Chris, you want to come over here? Yeah, there you go. We'll turn a little bit. All right, so we'll raise your hand. I, Ezekiel Hernandez. I, Ezekiel Hernandez. Do solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and the state of Colorado.
Do solemnly swear to the Constitution of the United States of America and of Colorado.
I will faithfully and impartially enforce the laws of the state of Colorado and the ordinances of the city of Lamar.
Faithfully and personally enforce the laws of the state of Colorado, the ordinance of the city of Lamar.
And do further swear to discharge the duties of a police officer for the city of Lamar, Colorado, to the best of my skill and ability.
And do further swear to discharge the duties by a police officer for the city of Lamar, Colorado, to the best of my skills and abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God. Congratulations.
Let's get a signature for you. We'll make that official.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you, guys, sir.
Thank you.
And I guess that's it. I have, except for miscellaneous for questions. Jerry?
I just want to
Well,
say real quick,
Good report as well.
Yes.
Anytime we have a new officer, that's a good report. So. Bill, Brent, did you have anything on there?
I just wanted to say, congratulations, Ezekiel. I wish I could have been there tonight to watch it in person. It's been a privilege watching you and Bianca grow up. And I really look forward to seeing how you go through your new journey in law enforcement.
All right. Any other questions for the city administrator?
I don't have any.
All right. We will move on to reports and correspondence from the council. We'll start off with Joe.
Planning and zoning did meet, and there are a couple of items on the agenda tonight that Stephanie will bring forward that we had the opportunity to meet on, and a few other things. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of great projects coming aboard, and that's it for planning and zoning. And for the golf board, they've got several tournaments going on here in May. This last weekend, they had a tournament, Cliff Stewart family tournament, and that turned out well. That was a benefit tournament, and I was on one of the winning teams.
Yeah.
One of the winning teams. In June, they're gonna have a tournament in June, almost every weekend in June. They've got 3 of them going on. And of course, Rob mentioned June the 8th, they're gonna be having the glow in the dark. That's a 2-man scramble. So if you've never played golf in the dark, it's a fun time to do so. Have fun, cut loose. You don't have to do anything but have fun. Now, June the 15th, they will be doing their DECA tournament, which will be a good tournament. June the 22nd, they are doing their Wiley Panther Open, and that's always a big one too for Wiley, you know, for the high school there. So it's gonna be a very busy time out there. I can't give you anything else. I mean, the greens are pretty and they're fast, and the golf course looks beautiful out there. They've done a lot of maintenance out there. It looks amazing. It really does.
Great.
Now, I saw on their future agenda that they, because I had mentioned to them, as I mentioned to you guys with Andrew, how I and Andrew had spoken about JVA wanting to sponsor a tournament or do something with the city with the golfing. And so they put it on their agenda. It's nothing set in concrete, but I guess we need to start figuring out how to work it where Andrew can work with the golf board and figure out how they can do a tournament there. Now, I've spoken to several of the golf board members, but they don't want to do any Zoom meetings with Andrew. They want to meet him in person instead. And I said, well, I don't know if I can make that happen. And I spoke to Rob about that, sometime last year about that, but I guess they're really starting to anticipate and they're getting fidgety and they want to start doing something. So I found some ideas out there and I really don't know what direction to go to right now with these guys.
What about the LRA or the URA helping sponsor with JVA? So the city could work with them to help as the local person. I wondered.
Sort of like we did. Yeah, I think that, that would be sort of having a liaison with the JVA. I mean, just like we did for the CML regional conference. I don't think that would.
Just a thought.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, when Rick was, a hired hand for the rec department, he was the liaison for the golf board at that moment.
Okay.
And according to their bylaws, Anthony Latour could be the liaison for the golf board there.
Okay.
And on another, I also brought that all that information to Anthony as well with the JVA. And so I passed it along, but we're stagnant. We're not moving the wheels on that yet.
Okay.
But that's where we are.
Shayla, do you have anything?
I don't have any updates tonight, but I wanted to take a minute to say congratulations to all the high school and college graduates and wish them the best of luck as they move on in their futures.
Okay. Jerry?
We met with the Public Safety Board and we did give Lance the bylaws so he could go over them and let us know. And if you don't mind, can Don give you a quick update?
Sure. Your time, so.
And you only have 3 minutes.
Well, after the last, I think it was 2 months ago, 2 meetings ago, we've had three meetings for the Public Safety Board to kind of get some things kicked off. Okay. And the purpose of it for the citizens and everybody else is that we want to work as a liaison between the citizens and the fire and police and ambulance crews. Just so they can bring any concerns or, that they may have, and hopefully we can work through things to, make things a little bit smoother. Not that they're not going smooth, but it'd be just a way to, get in touch with us. We're working on some ways that to contact the members. To contact the board. Maybe do like a website or not website, but email, and maybe work with what am I trying to say, what do we have there?
The marketing?
Yeah, well, it's the hotline or the CHIPS line. Maybe we can work with the CHIPS line and get that, work through that. The membership, we've got 5 membership, or we've got 5 openings. 3 of us are serving as a 4-year term. Okay. I don't know why they thought about it, but they put me in the chairperson. We've got Terry Martin as the vice, and then Mike Duffy as secretary. We have 3 other people that have expressed a lot of interest in getting with Rob and see if we can get them approved or background checked, whatever it needs to take. So, and then Ms. Jenkins is working as our liaison with the city council. So maybe we can work that through. Yeah, the additional applicants, all of a sudden, people are just pouring in. They're excited to hear about it. So, okay. So that kind of covers us. We're meeting once a month. I think every third Thursday. at the library. And are we gonna have that open for if people want to come in and talk with us or? Yeah, I mean, if you have issues or you got comments or, you can come in and talk to us. We're gonna have the city administrator, chief of police, fire chief, and they're gonna be advisors to the board. So as we come up with issues or anything that we need to have bring to their attention. So anything else? I mean, any questions for me that we could maybe, yeah.
Well, I have a question. You're saying that, so then if citizens had a concern that they wanted to visit with you guys, they can do that on the third Thursday of every month?
Yeah,
at the
third-
Library building?
Yeah,
Is that
and
how they would contact you guys?
well, and that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get it to where we have either the tips line or just something else. And it's kind of in the infancy, right? We just kind of got this going here in what the last two months maybe. So we're gonna try to, find out what the best way to do it.
The official meetings will be on the third Thursday, not
Yeah.
this one because of the police chief search, but official meetings, but
Yeah.
we do want like a map. You have a ward map when somebody wants to find out who they talk to. We're gonna help them have a notification tree. If you have a question, who do you call? And I think that we can probably help on, city by app or on.
I think that would be pretty important. So that way citizens would know, the direction to go to and who to
Yeah.
contact.
We do meet the third Thursday of every month and we're gonna try and do it at 4 o'clock, cause I'm on a group with these 3 guys that like to visit and talk and everything, so we don't want the library to stay over,
Yeah, 4.
past 6,
Right.
so. And they said that we can, just close up and stuff, but I think that, if you're really, really interested in this program or this board, please get a hold of Rob here at the city and get an application. And I think, my opinion, I think that if people want to come on that third Thursday at 4 o'clock, they're more than welcome to come and visit with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, and I think the purpose or mission of it is, sometimes you hear things like cars are parked the wrong way, this, that, just maybe they're not feeling like they're being heard. I've had some people that were complaining about drug use. And once you explain to them how the laws have changed and, we can't just arrest everybody that walks down the street. So anyhow,
okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. All right, how about David, do you have anything?
No, Joe mentioned everything on the planning and zoning and don't have anything.
Okay. As for me, I know we had a meeting this morning with Karen Bryant at Prowers Medical Center, like we usually do once a month. And she's very excited about our upcoming community picnic that we'll be having on June 7th. So that's within a month away, less than a month. So they'll be having a free swim, they'll have a free movie. We'll also be doing the free picnic with the hot dogs. So if you have not looked into that, we put it on a Friday, so that way it's before everybody leaves for the weekend. So we hope that we get a good turnout like we did last year. Brent, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Nothing for LPI or PEP, but I just want to remind everyone that SECCI will be having its annual fundraiser on July 20th at the Pocket Park. It'll be a social event with a concert by Dirt Road Revival to finish things up. That'll start at 6 p.m. and go through 10. We've got everything lined up. Cody's Cooks is going to be there. Tres Jefes Tacos. We're just waiting on some final things regarding the parking lot out back from Kyle, and just put that on your calendars.
Okay,
I
great.
did have one more, I'm sorry. If you've seen the fire truck out here, they're doing their yearly hose testing. And they do this so that they can make sure everything is okay and that Lamar can maintain their ISO 2 rating, class 2 rating. So that's what they're doing out here if you happen to still see them out there.
Okay. All right. I think we got everything covered. So the next item on the agenda is old business. This is a discussion to award bid for new financial software to Tyler Technologies. This was part of our work session that we had earlier today for this. And I will turn this over to Kristen if you want to talk about this topic for a minute.
I'm not sure I have anything more to add. We're just asking you to make a decision to award the bid for new financial software. We're recommending the Tyler Technologies. And then give the mayor permission to sign the contract once we've received the final version and it's approved by the city attorney, city treasurer, city administrator, and the city clerk.
Okay. Do you have any questions from the council? I know there were two options that we had discussed during the work session. One is using the cloud service and one is using the on-premise service. We do have the funding set aside for either direction. And we had a lengthy discussion on which would be more beneficial. So I think we've kind of went through and did our complete due diligence on that. What would the council like to do? Did you have anything you wanted to add, Brent, or anybody else?
Nothing I want to add. I think I'm ready to make a motion if I can.
Okay,
I move to award the bid to Tyler Technology in regards to the on-premise software.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second to award the bid to Tyler Technology utilizing the on-premise software. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, do we have any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
I'm unanimous in favor of.
Okay. So we'll move forward with that. That should be a long process, just so the community is aware. You said it would be how long?
12 to 18 months.
12 to 18 month process to convert. But I think when it's done, it'll be a significant change for the city that should help quite a bit.
Yes.
Did you want to add anything for the
I don't
community
think
to
that-
know?
No, I just thank council for considering this. I don't think it'll be much more efficient to use and give us the update that we need to do our jobs well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, we have a public hearing for a new retail permitted malt beverage and wine liquor license for Family Dollar Stores of Colorado LLC, doing business as Family Dollar number 24291. Do we have a motion to go into the public hearing?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Shayla, second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Were you in favor, Brent?
Aye. It didn't go through. Aye.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay, so we are in there, into the public hearing. We will start off with the proof of publication.
So it was published in the paper on May the 2nd and posted on site as well on May the 2nd. And yeah,
And then do we have any comments from the police chief?
We did do an investigation with this.
All right. Do we have a representative here to talk about this application?
we have Rob Hosick from Family Dollar virtual.
Rob, if you'd like to introduce yourself and just give us a synopsis of what you're requesting, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Rob Hosack. I'm a consultant with Decisions Consulting. We're actually located in Atlanta, Georgia, and we represent Family Dollar all over the country. And tonight we're here on behalf of Family Dollar of Colorado LLC, and this is for our store at 1303 South Main Street. And I trust that the mayor, Mr. Mayor, you and the other members of the council have received a May 6th letter from me that just kind of outlines some information that we feel is important for all local jurisdictions to have as we make our applications. I did want to do a very, very brief presentation tonight, just to kind of touch on some store operational procedures that we use internally, company-wide, that we're hoping will demonstrate a responsible and safe approach to alcohol sales. And this, again, is for beer and wine sales only for off-premise consumption. Did want to mention, Mr. Mayor, that Family Dollar is seeking this license not to compete with a convenience store, not to compete with a package store. We're really doing this, or seeking this license as a convenience to our existing customers who wish to purchase a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine while they're doing their weekly shopping trip for other household items that we have available at our store, at our stores, and really want to maybe avoid a separate trip to a convenience store or a package store that may cater to a slightly different audience or market, let's say, than what you might find inside the Family Dollar store. I did want to mention, we do not, and I'll reiterate that, we do not sell beer or wine at discounted prices. Actually, they sell at the same prices that you'd find at any other retail grocer. We don't sell high alcohol content beer or wine. Our beers are normally the domestic 5% ABV that you would find at the grocery store, as well as wines that are around 15% ABV as well. Unlike convenience stores or package stores, Mr. Mayor, the amount of the floor space that we assign for the sale and display of beer and wine in our stores is very, very small in comparison to the total floor area of the store. I'd say on average, beer and wine display areas maybe represent 2% of the total display areas of stores. We have a number of company policies that we believe demonstrate a good, safe, and responsible approach to alcohol sales, utilize video surveillance to assist us with combating underage sales as well as other security threats. We have a nationwide training program that utilizes handheld ID scanning technology. We have an internal self-audit program that's more or less like a mystery shopper program that we use for all of our associates when they hire, and then once every 6 months for all of our existing associates. We have a zero tolerance policy for our associates once they have been informed of what our policies are, particularly as it relates to utilizing our ID scanning technology and recognizing underage purchasers or potential underage purchasers. And as a result, I did want to mention, and I'll close with this, Mr. Mayor, this was, I believe, in my May 6th letter as well. We're actually very, very proud that on a national basis, less than 1.5% of all of our licensed locations experienced a violation, and we're very, very proud of that. Would appreciate the opportunity to answer any questions that you or the council member may have, and certainly appreciate your time and attention, and would request that you approve our application for the license, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that description of your request. I was trying to do that for my opening remarks to make sure that everybody in the audience is aware of what your request entailed. So now with that said, is there any questions from the council? Any comments or questions that you'd like to add or inquire about?
Well, I've got one question, Rob. I'm assuming that there's gonna be an employee that's 21 years of age at all times while the store is open to be able to approve that sale?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the council?
I do have some questions. I go into the dollar store quite frequently and I just, this little map they gave us, it's like, ugh, but I just don't understand where you're gonna put that, the sale of beer and wine. And I'm not being disrespectful or rude, but it's chaos in there. How are you gonna monitor if someone walks out with alcohol?
And thank you for your question, councilperson, and I apologize. It's a CAD drawing that we submitted or that I submitted with the letter. As you walk into the two double doors, to the very left, there's actually going to be a new cooler installed, and there will be a very small area in that cooler where there will be beer displayed for sale. And then if you were to walk through the doors and go back and make a right, going back towards the right center of the store, there'll be a small, what we call end cap. So it'll be probably 2 or 3 shelves high that will be placed at the end of a display shelf that we refer to as an end cap. And that will be the small area where the wine will be displayed for sale. As it relates, and it's a very good question, as it relates to what would be our fail-safe measure to make sure that folks do not walk out the door. Our existing stores have video surveillance cameras, and these cameras, upon approval, if we were to be granted a license, the cameras will actually be altered to focus not only on the areas where we are receiving payments from customers, but they'll also be placed to where we're going to have a direct line of sight to where the alcohol, both beer and wine, is displayed. And I did want to mention that if there does appear to be problems, and the local, let's say the police chief were interested in seeing the surveillance that might help them solve an issue in the event that there is theft, we're happy to share that with the police chief if necessary. But that would be our primary means of making sure that it doesn't get out the door is our video surveillance that would be upgraded upon issuance of the license if the Maitland Council were to see fit.
Okay, and you did say that they would get training, like
Yes,
a tips and stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am. We have an internal training program that we put all of our associates through. And actually, if there's additional training, there are some places in Colorado that opt to have their own training, let's say on a countywide basis or a citywide basis. We're always happy to comply with that as well, ma'am. But in the absence of that at the local level, the training program that we have for all of our associates upon hire and then once every 6 months, we feel like is pretty robust and is probably one of the best in the industry, we feel like, as far as an internal training program goes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Kayla, do you have any questions? Okay, so there's no other questions from the council. Staff? You guys have any questions? Okay, seeing none, we will open the floor to anyone that's in favor of this application that would like to speak. Seeing none, we will move to anyone that would like to speak against this application. And we'll do the 3 minutes for each person on the open floor.
Hey, my name is Galen Burnett, live at 800 South Sixth Street here in Lamar. And I wanted to speak against the information, most of the information that I'll be given tonight is from the National Institute of Health, which is a government body there. Alcohol usage has become so common and so normal that many times we don't stop to realize the ramifications of the results of alcohol usage. Many people don't think that a single beer or a cocktail or, something small after they get home, that it has an effect upon them, upon both them, their family, the people around, their work areas. It is detrimental. A single ounce of alcohol is very detrimental. Alcohol has become such a common thing that many times we don't stop to realize the effects. We'd like you to think about some of the things. One drink can impair your balance, your coordination, your impulse control, what you want to do and what you don't want to do, your memory, your decision-making ability. One drink can cause you to have risks of injuries, even death. We know about the bad effects of multiple drinks, of drinking more than what you maybe should, okay? Because alcohol does shut down and destroy parts of your brain. I have worked with people who are in mental institutions because they have become an alcoholic. They've had a sloshy brain, was what we used to call that. It's detrimental. It's hard. Over the long term, alcohol increases your risk of more than 200 different diseases, including liver and pancreas diseases. It also increases your susceptibility for different cancers. The alcohol that we consume is based upon our body weight. Ladies tend to have a little less water in their body weight. And we just celebrated yesterday our mothers. These are the women. But do you realize that they have more problems with alcohol, and the effects of alcohol is stronger, more detrimental to them than what it is for a guy? We need to realize what's happening there. I have a concern about this place here. It's within a very short period of area. If you go north, we have the convenience store, which sells liquor. We have the corner liquor store, a package store. And so this would be 3 different places, if we approve this, 3 different places that are selling alcohol. I think that part of the city has plenty already. Plus, remember that just a little ways south of there is where we have LCC. And the majority of the students at LCC are under 21.
Okay,
Okay,
we've
thank
got
you very
3
much.
minutes, so I just wanted to.
I couldn't tell for sure.
That's okay.
I apologize for
No
that.
problem. All right, thank you for that. Is there anyone else who would like to speak against the application? Seeing none, we will close the floor and leave it to the council for city council action. And discussion. Do we have any final discussion before we make a motion?
I have one
Do we-
question, Mr. Hosek, how many storefronts does Family Dollar Stores of Colorado own in the state of Colorado?
In the actual state, actually, Councilman Bates, I think I have that information broken down by like Lamar. And the county per se. As far as the state goes, I think I could round that information up for you, but I don't have it on a statewide basis in front of me right now. But I could certainly run it down for you pretty quickly.
My only, the reason I'm asking is my only concern is that Initiative 96, and that might not be the latest. I'd have to defer that to Lance to look at, and Linda, allows for no more than 20 liquor licenses per grocery store. I don't know if that's what Family Dollar falls under, but that would be my only concern, is if that cap has been met.
Understood, and if I may, Councilman Bates, is Lance the city attorney, sir?
Yes.
That is correct.
And I would be happy to, if I needed to run down information or work in accordance with Lance or assist him, be happy to provide any information we could to help him address your concern about that particular statute.
Okay.
That would be my only concern there. I just don't want us to fall out of line with the state statute regarding that hard cap. I know it increases to unlimited in like 2035 or 37 or something. But that would be the only thing I'd want to look into before moving forward.
So if somebody wanted to make a motion, they can make that pending the review of that statute. Is that correct?
Actually, they wouldn't be able to get it. Wouldn't be illegal law.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I think I'll have to look at the statute and how it reads, but I don't have it right in front of me. I'm trying to find it. My assumption is that they probably have separate named entities for being able to be around that, but I don't know what that statute requires to see if that's going to be an issue or not.
Okay.
So do we have to table this until next meeting?
I was saying we could approve or deny it based upon a review of that statute to make sure that it's legitimate, because even if we passed it and they did not follow that statute, then it's invalid anyhow. So it would still be dependent upon that statute. It would just have to be verified. Is that correct?
That's fine with me.
If you chose to
Well, if we,
do a motion to pass, you would just have to put that in there.
I mean, if it was tabled, the problem is that we're set for the public hearing today. We've already published notice about it, and
So a decision would have to be made today then.
essentially the applicant is signing the application saying that they're in full faith of completing it accurately and that it doesn't have any defects. And so if there was a defect, it would
Null and void it.
it would essentially create an issue for the applicant in filling out that incorrect application.
What line item was this that Mr. Councilman Bates brought up?
It's not a line item. He's referencing a statute that he's heard about.
Okay.
How did that?
I believe what Councilman Bates is referencing is Initiative 96, and that's specifically towards retail liquor stores. This is not a retail liquor store. This is a fermented malt beverage store. So it's a completely different license.
Does that answer your question, Brent?
That does. Thank you for that clarification. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't crossing any lines there. So thank you for clarifying that, Kyle.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions before we get a motion?
I don't have any questions.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, we need to close the hearing first, so we would need to have somebody. Close
Make
the
a motion
hearing.
to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, so the next item on the agenda would be a decision by the council. Do we have a motion?
Based on the information brought forth, I make the motion to approve the liquor license.
Second.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there any final questions? Shayla. Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. So moving on, we have the next item on the agenda, number 2. UAC for You agreement. This is initiated by Linda Williams. So I will pass this on to you.
Okay, so the UAC for You has provided free magnets to give out to customers of the city of Lamar for the last 20 years. The magnets have phone numbers such as the city of Lamar, Powers County Fire, Sheriff, Police, as well as several 1-800 numbers for child abuse, missing persons, poison control. The company also reaches out to other businesses for additional advertisement. In years past, they've made a phone call and said, we're ready to send these magnets, and that's all that it's taken. This year, they've decided that they need an agreement signed. Since I'm not authorized to sign agreements, I'm asking for approval for the mayor to sign or such other action council may feel necessary. There is no cost to the city.
I move that we have the mayor sign for the magnets.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Lance, have you reviewed this agreement?
Yeah, I've looked at it. I don't have any issue with it. There's not a lot of detail there, but there's no cost to it, so.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Unanimous in favor of?
Motion passed. Moving on to CDOT letter of support for US 50 passing lanes grant application. CDOT asked if we would be willing to sign a letter of support for their US 50 passing lanes grant application in Otero County. We would be assisting Otero County in trying to support their application. Really, all we're doing is doing this letter as stating that we support this application and we encourage CDOT to approve it. What they're trying to do is get additional funding from CDOT to do additional 4-lane highways. So they'll be expanding their current 4-lane highways in certain areas and improving them. Since it's Otero County, they've applied 2 or 3 times already and have not been successful. They've applied 2 times. This is the 3rd time. They're hoping the 3rd time's a charm. So they were asking everybody along the valley to support this, and basically that's what we're asking is for permission to sign a letter of support for this passing lanes grant for the mayor to sign. Is that correct? Did I miss anything, Rob?
Nope, I think that's good. They were just asking for support, so they'd help us out whenever we.
I move that the mayor signs the letter for support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye.
Unanimous in favor of?
Moving right along, we have agenda item number 4, which is a resolution of the Board of Directors for the Southeastern Colorado Water Conservancy District concerning the 2003 intergovernmental agreement with the city of Aurora. The Leanne Noga had spoken with me from the Water Conservancy District. They had some concerns about the water purchase in Otero County by the city of Aurora. There were some concerns in there about whether or not it was a valid sale and if it would be a problem or go in conflict with their current intergovernmental agreement for the Upper Arkansas Water Conservation District. So she was asking for us to do a resolution, basically supporting our efforts to challenge that agreement and make sure that we keep water in Southeast Colorado. I think the big question was concerning our Fry Arc water, which should not be transferred, sold, or any of that. But there's no proof that this is illegal or it's against their IGA. Right now, it's just a question whether or not it is. Is that right?
I mean,
Is that fair to say?
I think that it's, from what we know at this point, it's they haven't really decided what they're gonna do with the water shares or what they have, and so I'm not opposed to the resolution. I think just the sort of language that it had on number 2, that it would violate. I think there just needs to be a couple of changes in that number 2, just to avoid kind of an accusation of it being violated, the IGA being violated.
So Lance had given me a revision earlier today by email and basically changed it, rather than saying to say may in certain areas that we don't know the definite answer to those questions, but it may be a question. Is that correct?
That's how I see it. I think it, again, I don't know that there's a clear understanding of what they'll do with those shares to say that it's going to violate. So I just would make slight change to number 2 to reflect that it may violate. And if so, any such violation should be ceased.
Okay. So that's basically what we're asking, is if they do use the shares in violation, that action be ceased. So we could do an approval of the resolution based upon the recommendations of our attorney. Or if you don't want to do the resolution at all, you don't need to. But basically, it's a way for us to support Southeast Water Conservation District in making sure that they utilize this water properly and follow the IGA's intergovernmental agreements.
I move to approve a resolution against the Aurora water purchase pending the attorney's recommendations.
Okay,
I'll second.
so we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution pending the attorney's modifications. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the ARPA subrecipient agreement with Southeast Colorado Water Conservancy District. This was initiated by Robert Evans and Christian Schwartz, but I had also worked on this as well with them. Basically, back in 2021, we received the ARP funding for the American Rescue Plan Act, that's what it was, Plan Act, ARPA. So we had received these funding and we were approached back in 2021 by the Southeast Conservation District and the Arkansas Valley Conduit Association to contribute $90,000 to the project for engineering studies. The engineering study would take care of the portion that would affect Lamar, Colorado. We are one of the very fortunate communities because we are at the end of the line for the Arkansas Valley Conduit. And the end of the line will end right near our well fields. But to do this, they'll need to have a vault at the end of the well field. And that vault is what will need the engineering. So at that time, back in 2021, we gave them a verbal saying that we were interested in moving forward and we were going to earmark those funds out of our ARP funding for this project. But now we have the contract in front of us that they would like to get us to formalize so that way we can get it paid and utilize those funds. So that's what this is about. We are just trying to support that Arkansas River Conduit project and our portion of it with the $90,000 out of our ARP funding. Any questions from the council?
The attorney has reviewed this and I don't believe he had any issues with it. We've corrected everything. I believe that he had issues with your thing, the clean copy with the attachment with the scope of purchase.
I move that we approve the art agreement with Southeast Colorado Water and have the mayor sign it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, moving right along. Agenda item number 6 is to approve staff to apply for the CDPHE 1306 Brownsville Cleanup Grant. This is initiated by Kristen, Anne Marie, and Tess Camp. We have Tess Camp here tonight.
So there has been a level 1 and 2 hazardous materials assessment completed on the main cafe located at 114 South Main Street. The next step in the development process is the asbestos abatement. The typical awards are between $10,000 and $150,000. The opinion of probable cost for spill remover and asbestos abatement has ranged between $421,000 to $515,000. Staff is requesting permission from council to apply up to $250,000 with a city match of $250,000.
So this is what we were discussing in the work session with Anne Marie, that we're to this point with the main cafe. So we are just asking council's permission to apply for this funding. The typical awards in the past have been between 10 and 150, but with the bill money that came out, they are seeing approvals on larger grants. So we would like permission to go. We kind of wanted to hit a sweet spot. We didn't want to go too big and have it denied right away. So we did have a meeting with a member at CDPHE and, you know, kind of develop the idea with in that we want to try to keep it within line, something that will get approved. So we'd like to approval to apply for the 250, and we'd match that with 250,000 out of the URA that has been set aside for the main, specifically for the main cafe.
Okay, so we do have funding for the match
Yes.
through the URA.
And I believe this application is due May 31st. So Anne Marie is currently working on some of the narrative on it. Tess has been working on the exhibits. I'm working on the financial side of it. So the team is putting together the application right now as we speak. But we didn't want to go forward without your approval to apply.
This was the additional item I was gonna say we could add to the special request next week.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion?
For
Right here.
for the agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can get it done by the end of the.
Oh, yeah. I don't need anything further except for permission
Yeah,
to
okay.
apply, and then we'll go forward
Okay,
on this.
all right, do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
We have a second CDPHE, or is this the same one?
No, do you want to stay with this one? This one, actually, we felt as a team that we needed some expert overview of the application. It is outside the scope of our Brownfield grant. But they agreed to give us some technical assistance on writing the grant, kind of giving it a final review of some of the technical language in the grant, being it so specific to the levels of asbestos that they've assessed and things like that. So we were asking if we could go into an agreement, a separate agreement with heirs, up to $1,500 to just help us with the development and getting this grant application ready for CDPHE. So we're just asking for permission to enter into this agreement with heirs.
That money would come from the same funding, the URA.
Yes. and allow the mayor to sign the agreement, which is attached. And I believe that Lance had a few comments on that one. One suggestion, didn't you, Lance?
Um,
You remember?
I've looked at so many, I don't remember. Um,
And we don't know that we'll need the full 1,500, but we just wanted to give it a limit and we'd go up to that. We don't know how many hours that we need from them to review it.
oh, right,
So
okay.
it was 10 hours. They charge $150 an hour for this type of service.
Yeah, I really it was just a piece regarding a mediator in this agreement. But the amount is so low, it makes little difference to me whether it's included in it or not. I find it unlikely there's going to be a dispute resolution needed for $1,500. I don't know necessarily why it was included, but I think it's probably their standard language for more comprehensive contracts. But that was the comment I had regarding mediators. Typically, we try to avoid having arbitration or mediation required in our contracts.
And we went into a similar agreement John Sutherland did when we wrote the application for CDPHE. We were awarded back in, I believe it was 18 or 19, to help us abate the Troy Motel property. And so we used Air Services at that time too. So it was just something similar that we did on that application.
Council?
Make a motion to approve the agreement with Harris and allow the mayor to sign the agreement.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you.
All right, approved grant assignment with SECED or SCCOG, sorry, Southeast Council of Government for the dog park improvements. This is a grant that we applied through CCOG, the annual mini grant. Kristen or Tess?
Yes, we applied on April 19th and we were awarded it on April 24th. We applied for $5,000 and we got it, and the estimated project cost is at $16,273.
Okay.
And this is just the formal agreement for that $5,000 to assist us with getting the fence put up, doing some of the water lines and things like that for the sod. So this grant would help us go forward on our dog park and get it started.
Okay. So as the treasurer for the Southeast Colorado Council of Governments, should I abstain or?
I don't think it impacts, you don't have a financial interest in the
No,
outcome
I
of
don't.
this, so I don't see an issue there.
Okay, just making sure, thought I would ask.
And I have reviewed the agreement. We made some changes to it. And the version that's in front of you is acceptable to me.
Guess I'm the secretary. I don't know what I am. I'm on the board, somewhere on there. All right, so do we have a motion to approve the grant agreement?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the grant agreement. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Good, it'll be great to get that dog park started. All right, I apologize, Trevor. I asked them to have you come in tonight and they put you at the very last of the meeting, so you had to wait this whole time. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider in-kind work contribution to the Shore Arts Center. I have Trevor Lacoste here tonight. He had reached out to me concerning the Shore Arts Center, which of course is a nonprofit organization. And they are getting ready to do some renovation. They were asking for in-kind contribution of a dumpster. Is that correct?
That's
Would you
correct.
like to speak on that?
Yep. Thank you for listening tonight. We've actually been in that location now for almost 20 years. We got ownership of that property in 2006. So in 2026 will be their 20 years. We're actually more than a quarter of a century old as an organization. We're 31 years now. And that's a big thing in Lamar. We looked through the history books to see what other kinds of performing arts organizations had that type of longevity, and there aren't any. So that is something that we're very, very proud of. We try not to ask for very much. We try to do our own funding. We do grant work within the community. We have lots of in-kind with our own membership. What most people don't know is that our musicians each donate about 3,500 hours a year for our organization. That's in performance, rehearsal, and other in-kind donations as well, the time. So yes, we're doing some renovations upstairs. Many of you remember Carla Scranton. She is very well loved in this community, even years after her death. And we are going to be naming the speakeasy upstairs under Carla's name, Carla's Speakeasy. We will not be charging for alcohol upstairs. I just want to make that abundantly clear. We're a public building, and there may be some alcohol served at parties, but it's not going to be charged. So just so you're aware of that. We're going to try to get some stuff cleaned out from the upstairs. When we took ownership of the building, much of the fixtures from down below all went upstairs into storage. And that stuff has sat around. We've used it for years, and we've done different things with it and repurposed much of it. But some of that needs to go, especially as we move forward to get our museum put upstairs and the speakeasy as well. So we're asking for in-kind donation for a dumpster for 2 to 4 weeks. And we'll be using useful public service to clean out the areas that we started to renovate upstairs.
I did speak with Pat. He said we can get one available and made. Just depending on what you guys.
Okay. So it'd be an in-kind of letting them use the dumpster, most dumpsters. Do you know what size you would need?
Some of that refuse upstairs is considerable in size. So I'm going to say a fairly large dumpster of sorts. I mean, we're going to have some 8-foot pieces, 12-foot pieces of
We
lumber,
talked
things
about
like that.
sizes, and most likely it'll be our big one,
Okay.
just because we have more of those available and easier to rotate around. And he said you'll get them.
There may be some opportunities, just throwing it out there, but there may be other people that are on that block that may want to utilize that while it's there. And that certainly wouldn't bother us. I mean, if there was other people needing to get things out of the
You know,
upstairs.
people are gonna throw it in.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a question, a dumpster that size, where would you park that thing to clean out?
Parking lot.
Well, that was the second part of the request, actually. We wanted to see if we could get something that sat right next to the building. We have a door upstairs that opens out with no landing, and that's what we'll be using to dump things out of. And it would be super efficient for us to be able to dump them right in the dumpster. Now, that being said, we don't want to tie up traffic. So I don't know how that would work.
We've had a couple of requests for other things in that alleyway, and we had to say no because of that. So that
Okay.
might make-
Yep, understood.
So it'd have to be in that parking lot behind. The big parking lot behind over by Desiree's.
Okay. I can see it there, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there would be any issue of putting it in that corner space up next to Quiznos?
We'd probably have to ask Quiznos, because isn't that there?
Yeah. I think so.
The space to the north of them?
No, so you're talking about the 30-minute parking?
Yeah.
Place, we could probably use that temporarily.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we could check that and see.
We'll look at it and get as close.
Okay. And then we would like to request just a work session with council down the road. Just if we could do that with you guys at some point. So.
Okay. All right, so first off, council, would you want to do this contribution, in-kind contribution for the dumpster? And would we need to pay the department out of our city funds, or?
I don't necessarily think so. I think if you just allow us to do it, I think we can.
We have, that.
I
Just
don't think
to
I
get
have
straight.
the sanitation though. It being its own enterprise fund, it's a little bit different, but I think we can work something out.
Or what about through URA, since it is an URA?
They'd have to write a check and we'd have to, I don't,
Reimburse.
yeah. We can work something out. I'll talk to Pat or you can and see what he thinks we want to do.
Okay, council, what would you like to do?
I move to approve the in-kind work for Shore Art Center, the large dumpster.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I will say that the Shore Art Center has been a great partner They worked with us on the Shore Pocket Park. And they've helped us with that, and I know they help maintain a lot of things over there with that pocket park as well, or help us.
And the city has been a great partner. Most people really don't know that the city has been fully responsible for that entire park. I mean, the development, there was a long process. It got stalled a couple of times, and luckily, the city stuck through with it, and they have a lot to be proud of with that park.
Yep. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Up, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch about the work session. All right, next item on the agenda is memorandum of agreement for participation in the Colorado Department of Local Affairs Main Street Program. It's initiated by Martha Barrett Alvarez, the Main Street Manager.
Good evening. I'm going to read the background since we have a couple of new council members. So Lamar became a Colorado Main Street community in October of 2010 and was recognized as Colorado Main Street Program of the Year in 2014. While it is affiliated with the city of Lamar, the Main Street Program has a 501c4 nonprofit status under LPI, Lamar Partnership, Inc. It has a board of directors appointed by city council. And so our Main Street program is a graduate community which allows the city and LPI to receive technical assistance, training, consulting services, annual mini grants, and scholarships. All Main Street scholarships and mini grant awards run through the city of Lamar. And so the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, DOLA, administers the Colorado Main Street program and requires an MOU between DOLA, the city of Lamar, and LPI. So by approving and signing the MOU, Lamar will continue as a Colorado Main Street community. And so we recommend that council approves the MOU with DOLA and LPI and authorize the mayor to sign.
Okay.
And I wanted to point out that I'm sorry I did not get you the clean version of the MOU. It has all of our track changes. But I did get a clean copy over to Linda. And so we made all the changes that are within the document that we provided. And Lance did review it.
I did. Acceptable.
All right, council, what would you like to do?
So moved for the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Brent?
Aye.
Okay,
Unanimous in favor of?
okay.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is to schedule a public hearing for the Royal on the 7th subdivision final plat. This is initiated by Stephanie.
Good evening. So a little background on this, for those that may not be familiar with it. Scott Glahn has been working with John Supton III to start the process of a subdivision off of Memorial. Attached is the plat along with some of the information on the subdivision itself. Everything has been done according to code. All the departments have reviewed the plans and we have emailed the appropriate parties for any concerns. We have not received any at this time. They are ready to move forward, so they have submitted the final plat to us for approval. And in order to do that, we need to set a public hearing.
Okay, so the next meeting would be on June 10th? Is that right? Or is it the 3rd?
June 10th.
10th.
It is, but that one would not be 30 days out, so we need to bump it to the next.
Okay,
June 24th?
Yes.
all right. So shall we schedule that for June 24th, council?
Yes.
Do we need a vote on that or do we just? Okay, so do we have a motion to schedule it for June 24th?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to schedule the public hearing for June 24th. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Next item is an ordinance of the city of Lamar, Colorado, stating the intent of the city of Lamar repealing and replacing transportation units. Chapter 6, Article B9. I had to think about that one. This is also initiated by Stephanie Strubing and Kyle Miller. Stephanie?
Yeah, so a little bit of background on that. Over the past couple of years, there's definitely been an increase in the presence of Connex boxes showing up in Lamar. And so after speaking with Kyle, we kind of brainstormed a little bit, met with planning and zoning, and also had a work session here with council. And so we moved forward with presenting this ordinance, which I will read for the first reading. Although it's Kyle's last meeting, so
So he
out
should
of,
have to read
he
yours.
should have to, but I'll do it out of kindness. All right, an ordinance of the city of Lamar, Colorado, repealing and replacing transportation units, chapter 6, article 4. Whereas the use of shipping containers, commonly referred to as a Connex box, is in effect an efficient and useful way to add additional storage to a property. And whereas the use of Connex boxes has become a more common way to securely store items outside of a residence. And whereas the regulation and placement of Connex boxes is necessary to ensure the minimal amount of impact on surrounding property owners. And whereas to provide for the health, safety, and well-being of its citizens, and to ensure the structural integrity of shipping containers used as a storage facility, including declaring certain acts or structures to be a nuisance. It is necessary to regulate such a use for shipping containers and require such units to comply with all applicable building regulations. And whereas the city holds the aesthetics within its geographical boundaries as an asset and trust for its citizens. As such, it is necessary to exclude shipping containers for aesthetic purposes in certain city zone districts as stated herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado as follows. Part 1, the Lamar Municipal Code, Chapter 6, Article 4 from Section 6-311 to Section 6-325 is hereby repealed in its entirety and replaced to read as follows. Chapter 6, Article 4, Shipping Containers. Section 6-311 definitions. The following definitions, when used in this article, whether or not capitalized, shall have the meaning ascribed to them in this subsection, except where the context clearly indicates a different meaning. Shipping container, a detachable, prefabricated, reusable container intended for transporting cargo and commonly called cargo containers, storage containers, transport containers, marine cargo containers, and Connex boxes. They are self-contained without axles or wheels. Semi-trucks, trailers, sheds, and storage sheds shall not be considered a shipping container. Section 6-312, maximum allowed size of a shipping container. It is unlawful for a shipping container to be placed, located, or remain within the boundaries of the city to be used as a storage facility of a size in excess of 8 feet by 20 feet, or the maximum of 160 square feet of storage, and shall not be stacked vertically above the height of a single shipping container. Section 6-313, zoning requirements. Shipping containers shall only be allowed in the following zones or districts as shown on the official zoning map of the city of Lamar and designated as AL, EA, OE, R2, R3, I1, I2, IP, C1, C2, and C3. It is unlawful to place a shipping container in the following zones or districts as shown on the official zoning map of the city of Lamar and designated as MH, PUD, FP, and R1. Section 6-314, other structural and installation requirements. Number 1, any person desiring to install a shipping container as a storage facility may obtain a permit application from the Lamar Building Department. The applicant must complete and return the application to the building department for review, inspection, and consideration and approval. The building inspector may impose reasonable conditions upon the issuance of the permit and the performance of the applicant thereunder to protect the public health, safety, and welfare to ensure the structural integrity of the shipping containers unit used as a storage facility and to minimize the disruption and inconvenience to the public. A permit must be approved by the building department prior to the installation of the shipping container. 2, it is unlawful for a shipping container to be placed, located, or remain within the bounds of the city that are A, used for any other purpose other than a storage facility, B, placed, located, or remain without receiving a prior approved permit from the building department, C, kept in disrepair, structurally unsound or unsightly, D, not painted to match the main color or trim color of the main building on the property, E, placed, located, or remains anywhere else on the property except in the backyard of a residence, F, placed, located, or remain in any zones or districts not approved for a shipping container, G, in violation of any other municipal code or ordinance, H, in violation of the setback required by the zoning applicable to the property, I, stacked vertically on top of each other, J, placed, located, or remains on a vacant lot, K, utilized for temporary storage for more than 90 days when a building or resident is being built within the city limits, or I, utilized as an unpermitted temporary or permanent dwelling or living quarters, camping, cooking, or recreational purposes for any amount of time in any zones or districts. Number 3, the owner of the property with a shipping container currently in place prior to the passage of this ordinance and in non-compliance with this section shall have 180 days from the effective date of this ordinance to bring the property into compliance. 4, semi-truck trailers are not shipping containers and shall not be used as storage containers in any zones or districts. 5, any shipping container that is in violation of this section will be subject to persecution for violation of this chapter and shall be considered a nuisance and shall be subject to all remedies available to the city, including removal and abatement. 6, no person shall have any entitlement or vested right as a result of any permit issued. Such permit provides a revocable privilege. Part 2, the Lamar Municipal Code, Chapter 30, Article 2, Division 2, Section 30-404 is hereby repealed in its entirety. Part 3, the Lamar Municipal Code, Chapter 30, Article 2, Division 12, Section 30-435 is hereby repealed in its entirety. Part 4, the Lamar Municipal Code, Chapter 30, Article 2, Division 13, Section 30-467 is hereby repealed in its entirety. Conflict. All ordinance, resolutions, bylaws, and regulations of the city of Lamar in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Servability. In any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this ordinance shall be held invalid, unenforceable, or of no legal effect by a court of competent jurisdiction. The invalidity of such section, paragraph, and clause shall not affect any other provisions of this ordinance. Effective date. This ordinance shall take effect 30 days after publication as provided by law.
Okay, council, we would need to do a approval of the first reading of the ordinance, if you so choose.
Make a motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve on the first reading. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Brent?
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. So I know there's one item that was brought to my attention, of course, and Stephanie just mentioned it as well. Tonight's Kyle's very last council member, or council meeting, sorry, as the chief of police. So I wanted to thank you for your years of service to the city of Lamar. We really appreciate that. And we wanted to make sure that we at least took a moment to mention that to you and share our gratitude. Council, did you want to say anything?
Kyle, thank you for your years of service to the city of Lamar. Greatly appreciate what you've done for the city.
Jalen?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle, and we wish you the best of luck on your new adventure.
David?
Kyle, I get my Mustang now.
Go ahead, Brent.
I said, thank you, Kyle. I'll go get my Mustang back out now.
Well, thank you, Kyle. We do truly appreciate it. I'm sure they're probably going to do something else, but I just wanted to make sure that we took a moment to at least show you from the council that we really appreciate you. So aside from that, the next item on the agenda is an executive session. We have two executive sessions. One for a conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under Colorado Revised Statutes 246402 subsection 4 subsection B regarding economic development negotiations. And then the second one is for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing a strategy for negotiations, or instructing negotiators under Colorado Revised Statutes 244402 subsection 4 subsection E. This is regarding the chief of police search. So there will be no decisions coming out of this executive session. So we will immediately close the council meeting immediately following the executive sessions. So we will end the transmission afterwards. So, council?
Oh, can I say one thing?
Yes.
Please come by some pancakes on, it's
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning before the parade and before we get started for the Lions Club. This is their big fundraiser for the year, so.
Very
At
good.
Eagles Club.
At the Masons or the Eagles? At the Eagles?
Yeah,
Okay.
And where are we?
that's where I did it the year before. So.
Where are we meeting for the parade? To get.
Oh,
the float?
Safeway.
Safeway.
Okay.
I will put it out to make sure. I just remember that's what.
For the Lions, wherever it's.
Yeah, that's what the Lions are there. Yeah.
All right. So do we have a motion to move into executive
So
session?
moved.
Do we have a second? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say aye.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, we will